Hi, my name is Christy Wilson. And just to start, understanding yourself as a leader, the two personality tests I took. The first one I took was the Human Metrics Jung Typology Test. It was on the Myers-Briggs link. And my results showed that I was an ISFJ, which means introvert, sensing, feeling, and judging. And then it went on to describe what those were. And I was surprised how correct it was for me. It says they're characterized above all by their desire to serve others, their need to be needed. They're relied on for their loyalty and high quality work for those around them. And because of their loyalty, sometimes they're taken advantage of or taken for granted. They're bad at delegating, which is sometimes can be me. Feel it's wrong to want a reward for doing work. Genuinely patient, sympathetic. And it said good career paths for someone like this is nursing, teaching school, social work, which is what I ended up in, is nursing. And before that, I was working in a school. And I also talked about how families are the center of their lives, even though work is important. So I feel like that really was who I am. The other one I took was the Truity Emotional Intelligence Test. And it just said my superpower was seeing the bright side of life, having a positive attitude, someone who finds joy in the little things. And so how do these traits help or challenge me as a leader? I think they help me because I'm really sympathetic. I love taking care of people. But I think it can be challenging because sometimes maybe I can be taken advantage of because I am someone who likes to work hard. I don't really feel like I need a reward or someone to tell me, oh, you're doing such a great job. So sometimes, maybe, and I'm not great at delegating. I think, oh, I can do it better. I can do it on my own. I don't really need help. So that's not always great. It says, how can personality affect team dynamics? I think being positive when you're in like a tough situation, like maybe something new is happening at work, being able to be positive and say, okay, guys, let's just see the good. Let's test it out. Let's see how it goes before we have negative thoughts. And also just being caring and empathetic, being able to listen to my coworkers, care about what they're doing, care about the things that matter to them. I think that can also really help team dynamics. The second question was about my leadership style. And I think my leadership style probably is more servant leadership, being willing to work with those I lead, being, not asking people to do things that I'm not willing to do. Some of the things it said, servant leaders, they turn conversations towards others. Feedback focuses on strengths, aspirations, capabilities, concerned about how others feel about them. Obviously, I hope others, when they think about me, they think of me as someone who's warm and caring and cares about them, and someone that improves the well-being of the followers. And then some of the characteristics of servant leaders are listening, empathy, healing, stewardship, building community. And those are all things that are really important to me and things that I think of are the kind of leadership style that I have. It says how my personality, emotional awareness help or challenge me when leading a team. I think some of the challenges are I'm not great at confrontation. It's hard for me to make people feel bad, even maybe when they've made a mistake or when they need some correction. It's hard for me to share those things and be really honest because I don't want people to feel bad. So I think that's one way that it could challenge me in a leadership position. And how would I support a colleague or a team? I just think being able to see the positives and being able to work with others and be able to work with others, not just tell them what to do, but show them by example, like, hey, this is how we do this. Let's try it together instead of just telling them what to do. But I think that's how you can be supportive, is being willing to be in the trenches and help them through whatever it is. The third question was about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And to me, that just pretty much means your basic needs have to be met first. It's hard. You're not going to be able to reach your highest potential if you're hungry or if you're scared. Like those needs have to be unmet, or those needs have to be met before you can reach higher, like your potential of who you are. What does emotional competence mean to me? Emotional competence to me means you're willing to, you're able to stay in control of your emotions in a tough situation. You're not going to fly off the handle or lose your cool, but that you can show emotional regulation in tough situations, that you can remain calm and think through things and take time and not just have an outburst of emotion. So as an example of how understanding someone's needs or emotions helped a team or leader, I think about in a hospital, emotions are so high because you're seeing patients really at their most vulnerable, maybe in their worst situation. And I just think specifically about a patient who was really rude to me recently and said, I would be really embarrassed how long it took you to be able to get a med for me, because it wasn't on the patient's MAR and I had to reach out to the doctor and get approved by pharmacy. And I was doing my job to the best that I could, but he was in a lot of pain and he was really kind of mean. And my first thought in my head was like, this guy's a real jerk. But I had to think, like, he's at his worst. He's in a lot of pain. I have to remain calm. I have to be kind. I have to be an example to him of how I would want to be treated. And I think just keeping your cool and remaining level-headed in tough situations is important for a leader, a team or a leader. And how when you realize people are at their worst and we need to give them the benefit of the doubt, I think that makes a good leader. And how understanding emotions and needs of others shape my leadership. And just in how I said, just understanding that sometimes people are going to be at their worst because of the situation that they're in, but to give them grace and to keep my emotions regulated and under control will help me be a good leader. And the research article I read was really awesome. It's called Nursing in Maslow's Hierarchy, a Healthcare Pyramid Approach to Safety and Security During a Global Pandemic. And it just talked about what one key health, hospital system did during the COVID pandemic to help meet all their nurses' needs, realizing they couldn't be a good nurse if they didn't feel safe, if they didn't have their needs met. It was really great. So one key takeaway for me, how it connects to leadership, is we can't expect the people that we work with or the people that work for us to be at their best if they're struggling in lower needs, if they're hungry, if they have housing issues, if they don't feel safe, if they don't feel like they have job security, they're not going to be able to be their best. So that's what I learned from that article.